Welcome back, guys. We are here after game number 1 of SKT versus Gen.G, and if you're joining us late, you might be surprised about the result of this one. SKT able to win the early game and take down the game in just about 40 minutes.
They did one of the most difficult things to do in League of Legends when you're playing a top team. Around the areas where they were weak, they outplayed Gen.G and took Drakes on the bot side, where honestly SKT were outdrafted. The Soraka was picked to get a winning lane against the Tahm Kench, and yet advantages were found bot side by SKT more often than they were found by Gen.G. They were so dogged in their 1-3-1. Never did we see Gen.G get real value out of their Zoe and Varus, out of their potential to 5-man group with double cleanse and say, we're taking your turret, we're taking your health bars, and there's nothing you can do. That never became an equation because of the core map movements, and Pyrion popped off on the rise in a way that FLICKR has done many times in the past. But the past is the past, and in the present, SKT just can't stop winning.
This is what you guys missed. We saw the beginning of the Baron in the picture-in-picture while going over the replay, but the Rise showing so much worth in the late game. You can get to objectives faster, especially if you can see the enemy team going for a back. And, well, the Rise was really fed, guys. He was 3-0 at this point, and just before it, he was able to push in a giant wave to take out the inhibitor. They were able to sandwich the side of Gen.G as the game was essentially falling apart around them. And finally, they fell down here. SKT with a very solid game number 1, a fantastic showing for them. We'll see if they can do it for a second game in a row. That would be a huge victory over Gen.G.
Just really appreciate how clean and how prepared SKT looked. They were able to make the game theirs, and Gen.G, this team that is so defensive, that usually is so reliable, just couldn't diagnose the problems in their execution. SKT outplaying them, as we gave you a little flash there of the MVP. Spoilers, it's Pyrion.
Yep. Won the lane in terms of just trading up against the Zoe, had more of an impact on the just on the map in general. His Rise looked really fantastic. He is going to be staying in for game number 2, guys.
And if you have an SKT emergency, don't call 911, you call 411, you get Pyrion, and apparently it works out. Nicely done by him. We're going to chat with him if SKT go on to win, but of course, we cannot call this series over. See what Gen.G decide to pull in game number 2. Any substitutions, that'd be interesting too.
Yep, doesn't look like any on the side of SKT. Pyrion just all smiles, and well, the zoom out will do a little bit of a spoiler there for you guys. We are gonna have Haru coming in instead of Ambition in the jungle. And we're just gonna reiterate for you that, you guys, here. As, well, Haru is definitely more aggressive, but Ambition has looked a lot more solid and has been playing better. I'm really curious to see what Haru will bring new to the table that they did not have with Ambition.
It's actually been 5 best-of-3s since Haru played against Hanwha Life and was subbed out, and then it was only Ambition after that. So in the same sort of time when FLICKR hasn't been played for even longer, even longer, we haven't seen Haru. So Haru's been out of the roster for a while. Like you mentioned, traditionally, he's on those aggressive champions, the Rengar, the Xin Zhao, Kindred even. But in solo queue, he's been mostly practicing the tank junglers, so maybe there's need some difference in the comms, because otherwise, we may not actually see too much difference from Haru from Ambition.
Hey, you mentioned how Ambition came in for that Hanwha Life series, but since then they did get 0-2'd by KT, and maybe they regret not subbing in Haru that time around, so maybe trying to cover up for past mistakes and change things up. Let's see how the pick and ban goes for game number 2.
Kind of amazing that we sat there in Beijing, again, 268 days ago. And you know what the fun kind of anime narrative was? FLICKR versus Ambition. What does it mean? The guy who debuted and smashed Ambition, and Ambition coming and winning his first world championship. We actually see neither of them playing today, Valdez, in game number 2. This will be Haru on the jungle for Gen.G. Mid laner for SKT is Pyrion. Looking at the adaptations here, Gen.G banning away the Orianna on red side and blue side, even though Fly has been one of the best mid lane Oriannas.
Curious about the third ban on the side of SKT. Orianna was already banned here first by Gen.G. Thinking about that Rakan as well. It's the second most played for Core JJ. Already the Tahm Kench will be taken away. We'll see what the supports want to jump onto.
A lot of Varus priority shown in our first series is available here. The Zoe was taken by Gen.G. Well, you know, that's one way to live.
Yeah, all you need is a bang. We're all in need of a bang sometimes, Papa Smithy.
You were working out your wording there for quite a while, weren't you?
I was thinking about it, you know, the best way to deliver that one. And speaking about a bang, you can definitely get a bang with Ezreal being picked here for bang. We saw what he can do on the pick. This time, he'll have a much more fun time picking that up early on the red side.
And the nice thing is they combo with the Gragas that we know that Effort has already won an MVP on in the support role. May just end up being the jungler for Blank as well. So I'm liking the flex pick Gragas, without even mentioning Tal in the top lane potentially picking up. We haven't seen too much top lane Gragas, so a little bit less likely. Gen.G going to be answering with the Ashe, very, very standard for them. But so far, no changes in the champions on the blue side.
Thinking about perhaps what support can go well with the side of this one. Could also try to pick up the jungler here. Already a couple of junglers picked away, but actually the Gnar being considered here for QV, and they are going to lock it in. We've seen what this guy can do on the pick, and so far Gnar, with its really high win rate, has been moving up the tier list here in Korea.
And the reason you do something like this is to try to show SKT's hand a lot earlier. You take the Gnar as a blind pick and you say, if you want a strong laner into Gnar, maybe you have to take it now. SKT can disagree and instead pick a mid laner into the Zoe. Basically, Gen.G is saying, you either pick your mid laner now or your top laner now.
There it is.
Because we've already taken both our solo laners. It's going to end up being the LeBlanc. Either Gen.G was going to coverage ban for Zoe or coverage ban for Gnar in this particular way. Now, it may end up being Gragas top lane, but of course, the Gnar is going to be pretty comfortable in that matchup. I still imagine Gen.G will ban top laners, but we see the return of Pyrion on the LeBlanc. He's not as flashy on the pick, but he knows his job is to control the Zoe as much as possible, and then probably patrol a side lane.
Thinking about some jungle bans here are the side of SKT. Also that Gragas could jump into the jungle if they really wanted to.
I think it is very possible that it does, but Gen.G, like I mentioned, they were either covering for Zoe or Gnar based on what SKT drafted. They drafted LeBlanc, so Jace, the strongest pick into Gnar, has been banned away. People don't care about the Kennen matchup anymore because Gnar is traditionally winning it. So leave open it. I'd love to see Tal return to it anyway.
Oh.
We've seen the Quinn hover.
Aww.
We're not going to see
it. And then you see the Garen hover, and you know it's just Bang trolling us.
There was Quinn in the NALCS.
Oh, it's back.
There's Quinn today.
Here we go, Quinn.
We found the new pick. In. All right, now we know what's going into the Gnar. It's going to be the Quinn. Okay, here we go. We have Teemo into Quinn in the LCK.
This is, it's a big deal, especially SKT debuting something new for their squad. Now, the Shen was left over. You have to think, well, the Shen is really fantastic nowadays, and they leave that until the end here for Core JJ, as well as a Camille jungle for the side of Haru.
It's a pick comp again from Gen.G, but if the Camille gets going, she can take over the map. Quinn is squishy, LeBlanc squishy, Ezreal squishy. It's very easy to take down solitary members here. SKT have gone for the double lane counter. It's win lane, win game from SK Telecom T1 with LeBlanc and also the Quinn into the Gnar. There's nothing you can salvage with a final pick. There's no Tom Kench to even devour one person. And okay, here we go. SKT, they know they win the lanes. Gen.G know that, but the Camille can have so much agency. How can this early game go? Because this is a game that is primed to be decided in the first 10 minutes.
This is going to be so much fun. I love the fact that Tal gaining a little bit more confidence, and the coach coming in here after winning game one. They say, we know that QV is going to play Gnar. We need to prepare something for it. A lot of teams seem lost for what they want to go up against the Gnar. It seems like SKT has landed on Quinn in the scrims.
Kennen is out. The Quinn is in. Again, a bot lane Teemo into a Quinn the next day. There was Quinn also in the NALCS earlier this morning. That was piloted by Sneaky from Cloud9. Now we're seeing in the top lane as a new answer to the Gnar. I just need this game to get started. No more of these crowd shots. Let's skip forward into the video games. I need my LCK Quinn, baby.
Well, you're going to get it, Papa Smithy, as Tal decides to give us all a treat here. Now, SKT, if they don't make this work, this could definitely go down as the game where they let Gen.G back in with a couple of weird picks, and I'm sure nobody from the side of SKT wants that.
Guaranteed, somebody is standing and pointing and laughing after the result of this game. Are we laughing at Gen.G or are we laughing at SKT? That's what happens when you roll out the Quinn. You invite the hate, but also you will get so much of a benefit from the crowd if you can pick up the win.
Yeah, not to mention Perrion back onto the LeBlanc as well. Already received 1 win, is looking for another win here into the Zoe. This time, bang once again on the Ezreal. Definitely a couple of picks that can catapult SKT into a 2-0 victory. We'll see if they can win the lane and win the game, or will Gen.G tie it up going into game number 2. Back onto the Rift here for game number 2 of Gen.G versus SKT. You don't have to rub your eyes for this one. It is real, guys. Quinn up in the top side up against Gnar. And I'm sure a lot of different pro teams are going to be watching this one closely. Is this the answer to Gnar? Is this the answer to Cuvé's Gnar? Maybe it's a good answer to Gnar in general. Maybe it worked out in scrims, but perhaps Cuvé can still win the 1v1.
And we desperately need an LCK answer to the Gnar, because Gnar has been dominating. 28 games, a 75% win rate. Is the Gnar champion. Every team, even the bottom teams, are getting the wins with the Gnar. It's winning the Kennen matchup, which used to be the counter. Now we see Quinn as the new answer. It's Phase Rush Quinn as well. I would have thought Electrocute for the really quick trades. You can use your E very well, the Volt here, to get very early Electrocute procs and dominate the lane, but he understands he's going to be needing to be elusive, so actually goes the Phase Rush.
It's going to be weaving in and out. We'll see how he can affect the other lanes too. Quinn with that mobility that everybody loves to try to make work. Can't mention the amount of times I've seen mid lane Quinn and Korean solo queue just trying to affect the other lanes. This really early ward is meant to spot Haru, but he's actually come into the jungle against Blank. Is going to be just barely late to not find Blank in the jungle on the Gragas. That's huge for him. Also going to spot Haru here on the ward. A fantastic start for SKT's jungle.
And that was a tricky path, but it is diagnosed, and Blank is able to minimize the chance that he gets contested on his top side. Top side is where he wants to play, to try to shut down this Quinn as much as possible. So nice defensive setup around Blank. We'll get him through the early levels, and it does delay the full clear coming through from Haru.
Yeah, it protects Blank. It protects Tall up in the top side. Nobody's going to take damage from the aggressive Camille jungle. Blank able to get a full clear on the top side, and then very easily just go down into the bottom side.
Oh, come on, Tall. Got a last hit better than that, mate.
Yeah, you know. He's, I really wonder how many games sometimes that we have the pro gamers when they go onto a new pick. Like, how many times has Tall actually practiced the Quinn versus Gnar matchup? Or how many games has he even played the Quinn?
Here's what I'll say. I would say recently, not many, but remember, this guy was a solo queue prodigy in his EUCS days, running through the ladder with an insane win rate. I'm sure he played plenty of Quinn back in the day, so I don't know about recent practice, but people need things into Gnar as Blank.
Blank charging over the wall, and CoreJJ is here too. He's going to look for the flash, just bait the flash. He doesn't use it, but Blank forced to use it just to have to survive. Looks like he may have to give up the blue buff too. It's going to come down to a smite fight, and it looks like this time it goes to Haru.
Really nicely done. The mind games are so big whenever you see body slam or the taunt come in the air. Are they going to flash on me or are they not? Same thing was asked by Blank, so he will flash proactively. Free flash, free blue buff, nice aggression from Haru. Win lane, win game is the top side of the map. On the bot side of the map, you can be a bit more frisky as we get that little piece of history. The last time we had a Quinn, it was Mickey, then of the FLICKR Freaks. I believe it was a loss as well.
You know, we don't see a lot of Quinn wins here in the LCK, and 866 days ago, March of 2016. Yeah, there's a reason why we haven't seen it in quite a long time, but Tal looking to flip the tables on that one. By the way, the blue buff did go over to the side of Ruler.
So Haru had one, and the other one went to Ruler. That makes sense.
So
nice pickup for the laning phase. The long cooldown and mana management is no longer there for Ruler. That's a good thing for him. There was a moment where Quinn was a thing in Korea, as nice trade from Fly. This could be a kill.
The flash on in with
got him.
the ignite. The first blood. Fly striking back in game number 2.
Really nicely executed by Fly. That is the sort of play for a confidence player like Fly that will mean so much. Hits the level 6, gets the kill, the proto belt off the ground. Very nice stuff, and now the lane counter is already on the back foot.
A very quintessential Zoe play, but he played it perfectly, so really nicely done as he gets the win in the mid lane. Perion deciding not to flash on the back of that one. Thought he could live through the burst, but he was dead wrong.
But watch this from Fly. He's level 5 as this play starts. He actually uses the things here, and he's only able to get it through. Doesn't even need the level 6 to make it happen. Gets level 6 from the play. Who even needs an extra gap close when you just straight up slam your opponent?
Yeah, the extra range on the paddle star too, as Perion just backing out of that one. It's a split-second decision, but I think you got a flash on that one. If you want to try to live or just not dash away on the LeBlanc. But at least he has his flash. Maybe they can play around that and try to pick up a follow-up kill in the mid lane. It's going to be hard to do against Fly on the Zoe, but at least this time he does not have the cleanse.
I just want to get more information about Phase Rush Quinn versus the Gnar from Cuve, because it's not any Gnar, it's Cuve's Gnar, and he just, of course, had that legendary performance against Griffin, where he was the big reason, he was the big match winner when the game needed to be won in the late game last time out. Not going to be able to hit the paddle star that time is Fly, but obviously feeling really good. So electrocute on both these mid laners.
As I was mentioning, Blank looking for it here at least. There's no vision on the bottom side, by the way. They only have the ward on the red buff to SKT. Double control ward on the bottom side River to help Haru secure that third Scuttle Crab and get ahead of Blank, but also to make sure that they can shut down this mid lane even harder. And with that, Haru will have the aggressive path into the enemy jungle with Core JJ, the pushing advantage in the bottom lane too, just here to help out.
But I mean, you and I were talking about this when we found out about the substitution of Haru in. We're not interested in seeing Haru come in and play Trundle and just try to play very defensively or play Sejuani and farm. If he's going to play, he needs to change the game plan of Gen.G, and I like the fact that so far the team is playing around his aggression. The first aggressive move didn't work around the top red side jungle. The follow-up ones have, and so far it has heaped the pressure onto the mid lane of SKT.
Quinn's really fast. You can hop onto Valor, get back in the lane. Will be able to keep his teleport because of that. He barely loses anything with that extra speed up to make it back into the lane.
Amusingly, one of our notable Quinn players in LCK history was Trace, who used to play top lane Quinn pretty infrequently with something like, he would go Ignite, and then of course had the roam of the behind enemy lines ultimate. Trace is the drafting coach of Gen.G, so I'm sure he had a couple of pointers right as the draft was ending there, given he has plenty of experience on this. And now Tal is on a roam, at least for vision, but potentially more.
Yeah, I mentioned how they want to try to get the flash on in here, the double dash, and they're going to jump on top of Fly, and there it is. They pick up the kill. This one goes over to Tal in the top lane. Quinn trying to get their Quinn fed.
So much roam potential, doesn't even need electrocute. The burst was already there from Perion, well executed by SKT. They find an answering kill. If they can continue to make that happen, less chance for Fly to try to turn the tables on Perion.
And perhaps the call should have been there that Tal was missing. They had the vision on Blank, but Fly, I think in that circumstance, just has to back out of the lane and respect it at this point, but does not. Portal jumps in, and he pays the price.
Nicely played by Perion. He had to do the heavy lifting. The roam timing from Tal was with a control ward and no blue vision. You see a blue control ward now. That wasn't there as the gank started. So unsighted, well played by Tal, and knowing your exact timings and the roam speed of a Quinn is obviously going to be kind of the sort of thing that these guys are going to be less practiced on. So nicely executed by SKT. See if they can surprise them a second time.
They really just want one Scuttle Crab that would be just fantastic. But maybe even more than that, a fight here, as looking to come into the river is the 4v4 now. Haru not able to land that one, looking for the stun, and there's a nice cast, but in comes the Shen on top of Haru. So much shields, and down is going to go the huge taunt as well. Gen.G looking to win the fight in a big way. The rest of SKT trying to jump back. The Paddle Star is not going to land this time from Fly, as he did not have the extra flash, but the kill to the side of Blank, and also the Infernal Drink should go to the side of Gen.G.
I think it's actually a pretty big mistaken positioning by SKT. Remember, win lane win game is not let's 5v5 team fight. They walked up, and then first the Camille ultimate into the beautiful taunt coming through from Core JJ on multiple members. There was no access for the Quinn and no access for the LeBlanc. No chance for SKT. Let's talk about how this starts. Again, the decision seems to be for Blank to actually engage. The first fight is for the Scuttle Crab. It could have ended there, but Blank decides to go in, and they say, okay, focus down the closest target. They're not going to have their Quinn there. She's already racing down. The LeBlanc can find nothing. Nice teleport spot from Cuvée will keep him away. It was well executed by Gen.G, but you don't draft Quinn LeBlanc and then rock up for a 5v5 without those people there first. They get their second, and that means that SKT come off second best.
We've seen a bunch of, just mistakes down in the bottom side river from both of the teams. The first game around, SKT played it well. This time around, not so much. And it was just a fantastic engage there from the side of Gen.G. We'll have to wait and see if SKT can pull this one back together after a Infernal Drake also goes to the side of Gen.G. A fantastic denial, and also really good for their team.
Much earlier pings now happening whenever Tal goes out of vision, as he can just pop his ultimate, and Gen.G need to be more aware of the threat than they were a moment ago. They still have that control ward from Cuvée, so the river at least is going to be a bit safer when it comes to information about Tal roaming. Tal under turret. They're only going even so far, but Tal will continue to build exclusively for lane. And whether Cuvée can do so or not, given the different team comp, is going to be interesting to track.
Take a look at the jungle difference so far with that first step forward, the priority that the Camille has, especially with the help now of Shen, who's level 6. Was helping out even before level 6, is very far ahead. And now looking to engage onto Tal. We mentioned how he's very, very squishy. Is going to miss that engage there. A lot of damage. Nice cast, though, as Cuvée is going to get low. Ults Blank in, but has that stopwatch. Mirian going to get the first roam here onto Haru, and he gets the kill. Now Cuvée going to get low, and he gets the kill as well. Bang was here even for the support on the backside, but 2 extra kills go to the side of SKT.
Bang packs up and leaves lane, because remember, with win lane win game, you want the turrets down fast. You want to make it a long map for LeBlanc and Quinn to chase down and get single kills. So getting the Rift Herald early, accelerating the time in which Quinn has long lanes to roam in and out of, is a big priority for the side of SKT. So they pack up, they get their first, no Shen ultimate available at the time. This should be Rift Herald SKT.
Yep, easily going to go over to the side of SKT. They pick up another objective, and let's see if they try to really just get this game going now and use it. No, just going to back off. They're a little bit too low, but Gen.G not rotating. Ruler just staying down on the bottom side means that they will pick up the first blood turret down on the bottom side.
Not a disaster, but an acceptable loss for SKT. They make the map play here. We'll watch the replay. The fact that Blank was out of vision is why. Haru opens with the hook shot. They get a lot of damage onto Tal. They can't quite kill him, but then even though there's double control ward for the Zoe, LeBlanc will always rotate first. Remember, this is 2018 LeBlanc, who doesn't need to wait for a tether in order to get the big damage. Has it just in quick bursts. They get both members, they get the Rift Herald, and now how SKT can use the speed advantage of LeBlanc and also the Quinn in terms of rotational play is going to be really fun to track, because otherwise, why bother drafting the Quinn?
Yeah, makes this a lot more even in the mid lane. The LeBlanc will have a larger leash now, able to pick up a kill, a couple of assists. Also the Quinn up in the top side, tied with Ruler for most farm in the game, sitting on 1-0-2, and a Youmuu's Ghostblade to be even faster. So see if Tal can have a big effect on this one, as he has the most gold to the side of his team.
I know the gender thing doesn't work out, but definitely a Sonic skin for Quinn would be a fun one. Got to go fast is pretty much her mantra. Yeah. It's rolling around.
I forget the female character from the Sonic
Knuckles?
comics. No, that's... Have you ever seen Sonic, Papa Smithy?
Yeah. Knuckles is from Sonic
Yeah.
as well. You're talking about
maybe if he
Amy?
identifies as female. You know, you never know. But Knuckles, as far as I was concerned, definitely seemed male.
Pretty sure Knuckles is female.
You know, I don't know about that. Maybe I'm the guy who just doesn't understand the lore. But definitely looked male to me. Not 100% sure.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Oh,
nicely done by
really
Effort.
Fantastic.
He's there to interrupt the channel there. He stops the interruption onto the Rift Tower. So Rift Tower will come down to the bot side.
Yeah. It's going to get a good charge, but 3 members of Gen.G here should be able to clean this one up, and the turret will not go down. And, well, the two-shot barrage is going to be committed to here just to clear the wave, do a little bit of extra damage. SKT really thinking about taking out this bottom side turret. Should be able to get it, as Perion is going to get the first roam down to the bottom side ahead of Fly Zoe. Just going to poke him out, and even a cask, and he gets the flash out of Core JJ. Going to take a big amount of engage away from that Shen now, as he can't flash taunt anymore.
Well, they do get the turret. It was full health before, as we do see some trades topside. I did important research. Knuckles is in fact male, so you were correct
there. You go.
I was incorrect on that. Amy, I guess, is the female character that's in the Sonic games. But Perion back mid lane, they're making these big plays. They need to send multiple members to a lane, and that means they are losing chip damage on the mid lane turret. Not enough to take it out. It's still a turret game from SKT. It's still a wide map now with the side turrets down on bot side, which does favor the Quinn. But when it comes to the 1v1 that we know Quinn was definitely drafted into, well, right now it's actually going very decently for the Nod.
He's feeling really good. Doesn't have any items finished yet, working on the Black Cleaver, just to help out the Ashe and the Camille if any fights come in, but also to help in the trading up against Tal. And you can see what happens. He gets low on mana, just going to have to give up the top side. Sleep going to come in onto Effort, but Fly in a really bad spot here.
Auto.
Thankfully picks up the exhaust, but here's Perion. Stand United going to come in, but trying to burst him down and play is going to get the kill eventually. The Ignite comes in from the side of Perion, but now looking for the engage. He's going to get Effort here. Does flash away, though. The counter coming in. The dodge circle, not going to be enough. It lands outside of it, and now Core JJ going to get low, and he will go down with one more auto, and there it is. Quinn is here for the kills, and so is Perion. The double kill to Tal, and an extra one picked up for the LeBlanc. SKT going to win the fight in a big way.
The 1-for-1 was greedy from SKT. They really wanted to kill. Bang goes down, but then the great flash away from the arrow that comes out from Blank buys time for Tal. And at some point, they had a marksman anyway, auto-attacking them all down. They get the kills. Advantage, SKT.
Oh, you got to see the replay on this one. So many important moments in this fight.
So Bang can't get the final auto to proc the concussive blows, gets exhausted, hits the ward because he attack moves. Eventually they get the kill, but they have to chase super hard. They want to deny the Shen coming in. Fly goes down. The Shen doesn't get the positioning, but watch the arrow be flashed by Blank. That's such a big moment. And then while Cuvée gets a Gnar, it's on one person, and suddenly it's free autos with first the slow into the double stun. Beautiful stuff from SKT. They know they have the chase advantage with Quinn still alive. They're able to get the chase down, and nice kills, SKT.
And the second game in a row that the Tom Kench is not going to come in for the side of Gen.G. Ruler not going to have the same amount of protection. The Shen did get the dodge circle down in the front line, but he was super low himself. He goes down, and Ruler with no mana, not able to follow up in the backside. And look at Haru, 0 damage in the entire fight. Not even sure how that was possible.
Weird things are happening. Ruler's caught.
Yeah, he's probably going to go down here as there is no escape. They had that deep ward in there, able to spot him out. And look at the roaming from Perion and Tal. They're both so fast, so mobile. He's just looking for that engage here on the side of Gen.G. Going to go ahead and poke on in. He does a nice bit of damage to that front line.
SKT is so mobile with this LeBlanc and Quinn that when you try to set up as Ashe and Zoe who say, hey, I'd like a mid lane, I'd like a turret behind me, some control wards, give me some space, I need some breathing room, they're getting none because the map is already pretty separated. We already have turrets down in the bot And topside, that suits Quinn and LeBlanc way more than it does specifically Fly, who's not going to have a support in his pocket the entire time. And if they can keep roaming like this, look at the build from Tal, going a full burst build. Second item, Storm Razor, to just race down those single kills. If Fly can never find safe farm, which might happen after this mid lane outer turret goes down, it might be difficult to get him any item timings as the game rolls on.
Yeah, it's been a rough series for Fly Zoe. Came into this entire matchup 4-2 on the Zoe, loses the lane in game number 1. The Rise from Pyrian wins the MVP. And now this time around, even though he gets the solo kill for the first blood, is going to be having a little bit of trouble. Now level 11, above it is Tal. He's going to be even faster on the Quinn. And you guys are going to begin to see the power of a Quinn that is this far ahead, 3-0-3. She will own the top side of the map.
And Quinn is really a solo queue abuse champion. If you're really good at Quinn and you know matchups that are not the best for Quinn, you know how to win in good and bad situations, you can acquire Elo really quickly, because games turn into games like this where turrets are down and suddenly you're roaming off getting one kill here, there, everywhere. That kill potential is online with Storm Razor done, 3-0-3. He is monstrously far ahead on this Quinn, and if you find him and a concussive blow stack comes in, you are dead.
Yeah. Now Gen.G, they still have a decent pick comp. They're really going to have to make work of the Camille so far. I feel like they had the one fight in the top side that was kind of botched, where Quinn survived and the double kill went the side of SKT. And ever since then, Haru's just been behind and not able to find any kind of engage. I wonder what that engage looks like for our resident Camille. Effort, oh, that arrow was so close, but Tal was there anyway. Now they're looking for the engage onto Ruler. He's nearly gonna go down the cast. He's gonna save his life from the standing item. Here's Quinn. Tal gonna get in the back line, but they do burst him down. The side of Fly and Haru do have enough damage to take her out, and even though the Quinn has a lot of damage items, is not very tanky.
One by one there. Quinn a little bit too greedy, too hard at the paint, I would say. Was Quinn trying to get another kill. They got so many tools out of Gen.G, including the ult from Shen, that should have been enough. SKT, you know what? Sometimes they say fortune favors the bold. That was a little bit too bold by Tal, so in the death chamber, maybe a time to reflect on some over-aggression.
You know, you're 3-0-3 on a pick that never gets picked. You're going to get a little bit overconfident at times.
I mean, he's already guaranteed the MVP if they win, because SpoTV will definitely give him the MVP. We don't get a vote at SpoTV.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he went too far in and died. Very, very simple, no analysis required.
Everybody else is so low. I mean, they just barely get enough burst onto the not tanky Quinn, and then they just disengage, because that's what Gen.G's comp does.
You already mentioned the big problem. When you're that fast and you're already ahead, you just feel invincible. Like, this is my time.
Yeah.
Yasuo players do this as well. They don't even need kills. They just pick Yasuo and they're ready to go.
Yeah. Fly, you know, he is still pretty tanky. Blank just trying to avoid that sleepy trouble bubble, and this is where they're really strong when Fly is poking ahead.
When Gen.G get the ARAM, they could never get in game number 1 and could put 4 members mid lane or more. They are able to make SKT's life a lot more frustrating, and they have control wards to spot if a LeBlanc or Tal on the Quinn is coming from the side. So Gen.G, this is where they want to play. This is the terrain that suits them. Oh, baby!
Oh, man! This backline of SKT just wants to get the hell out of there now. Thankfully, Blank was there to guard, but that's going to be a turret, and the damage from Fly is now beginning to pop off.
And this is what Gen.G wanted. They want to drag you into the open where they have more AoE. And by AoE in this, I just mean area, in order to flash away, in order to dodge a spell, in order to juke someone into a Core JJ taunt and then kill them instantly. Because the people coming from the flank in this game are not Quinn. They're not tanks. They are... Sorry, they're not tanks, they're not an Orin. They're very, very squishy champions like Quinn and LeBlanc. So in the open, that's where you want to draw them and try to outplay them.
Yeah, you mentioned the ARAM and you mentioned the control wards, but there are 5 of them in a pentagram shape. One of them going to be here, 3 to the top side of the mid lane and 2 to the bottom side. Thankfully, SKT do get a back, and now they are looking to clear out some of that controlled vision. But they could also get on top of Pyrian here, as he is low. If the trouble bubble hits, that's going to be the big one. He actually does respect it and flash this time away. Tal now trying to go 1v1, but Kive gets the priority in the engage. Tal even going to flash away from that one. And couple of flashes just going to be blown for free to the side of SKT.
That's the one where Cuvée starts with a slow, gets the early burst, and Quinn doesn't have the tankiness in order to stick around. Has the phase rush and flash to get away, but that's the best he could hope for there. Seeing SKT lose a bit of the momentum they had earlier, not be able to find the aggressive picks that got them this nice lead in the mid game, and now the nice lead is a very small one, Valdez. See if SKT can find a way to be proactive again, because for now, Gen.G are actually making some nice moves. However, Bang is here to help with the chase.
They will get the slow there. Bang going to hop forward with the arcane shift, but Cuvée knew that something was amiss and just decides to back away from that one. You mentioned how, Tal looking for some kind of new pick to deal with the Gnar. But so far, with the Frozen Mallet and some tankiness built up on the side of the Gnar, it looks like once again, Gnar is just dominant in this lane as well.
Didn't go double down on lane, didn't go for an electrocute, for example, so it seems like it was more about the mobility and the decent laning phase as a ranged top laner. Still, it's been fun to learn more and more about the Quinn. We're waiting for Quinn to enter this fight.
Yeah, there it is. The Blinding Salt onto Fly. He takes a nice bit of damage, but now Effort is going to have to hop out of this one. It will be respected by Fly. He's not going to portal jump again, especially with red buff onto Bang, who's looking to carry, and Fly nearly goes down. The Stand United trying to keep him alive, but the Ignite takes him out. And now they're engaging onto Ruler, and he goes down too. A disaster for the side of Gen.G, as now they just want to disengage. 2 kills to the side of SKT.
And this is at level 15. When level 16 rolls around, Pyrion will do more damage and have that cooldown on the Mimic up even earlier. Welcome back, 2018 LeBlanc. Greatest hits of the original LeBlanc, and those picks are so important. Their burst damage is huge, and now they want to burst the Baron.
Not going to clear the blue trinket ward. They have a nice amount of damage. They have 1 Mountain Drake. Can the steal come in? Pyrion looking to zone him out, and Haru is going to be effectively zoned out. The smite comes in ultra early. Not sure about that one.
That was a terrible smite. Terrible.
The unsealed spellbook was there for Effort, but he didn't have smite.
Holy
so, okay. Gonna monk S that one a little bit as Blank is giving us all a heart attack.
All right, let's watch the replay and understand how they got so much damage in on Fly. The map is so neutral. This has to be chase damage. Quinn randomly half-healths Fly with a Q. Fly pokes around, and it's on Pyrion to try to make the big players. Picture Haru is trying to take the Mountain Drake. Fly continues to walk forwards, and that is just old LeBlanc, baby. 2018 LeBlanc doesn't need the tether. Seems like Fly doesn't respect it, and they chase down the second kill.
Absolutely. You need to know at what health you're going to die to the combo of Pyrion, and you have to respect it. Fly just straight up did not. And that means that once again, Pyrion is going to essentially win for his team in the mid lane role. It's looking really good for them as now the Baron comes in for SKT, and they're looking to push some more turrets and get a big, large gold lead.
Quinn playing the side lane, 4-1 enacted by SKT. Gen.G so strong in these grouping fights, but the Baron, of course, is the ultimate equalizer to what Gen.G were intending to do when fighting in the open. Quinn and LeBlanc gonna hit the side lanes for now. Tal gonna face Chikaru.
Oh, Tal's like, oh, you're here. I might be in a little bit of trouble, as at least he does have a stopwatch. The rest of his team trying to come on over here. The cast will save his life, but I don't know. This Quinn got ahead early, but ever since the mid game, it's been more trouble than not for the side of SKT.
Hindsight is 2020 on a lot of things. I think Cuvé's played the matchup fine, and Gnar is just such a safe laner. He's beating the cannon lane, so of course he's going to do decently into Quinn, but Quinn is still causing a lot of harass around the map. He's still causing a lot of disarray, Tal.
The Teemo effect.
The Teemo effect. See, the Teemo pick is something we can talk about. The Teemo could have really been any other champion. It required the other lanes to do well. Tal has actually influenced this game in the early to mid game in a way that's been positive and been proactive, so I think it's a very different thing, even though both those champions are, of course, hilariously low tier in the grander scheme of things. To me, I'm more interested in the LeBlanc, because I think LeBlanc has been underpicked for the majority of summer. The moment old LeBlanc came back, I was struck by this champion who Monty put it best, was this hybrid champion who was strong in Siege and also an assassin. In a Siege, you hit level 16, QR a carry. What are they going to do? There's no gameplay against a targeted poke like that. So even in these Sieges, now that Pyrion has hit level 16, you just W in, QR, go out, someone has no health, and you take the structure.
If either Haru, Fly, Ruler, if they step forward, man, even Gnar at this point has no MR, has a decent amount of HP. You're going to take a big chunk of damage that you do not want to eat from the LeBlanc.
And LeBlanc was changed the first time because there was no counterplay to QR hitting you, and then 6 seconds QR hitting someone else. They added the tether, and it was a different playstyle. You took a gunblade, you hit the side lane. It was very different. This 2018 LeBlanc has fast AoE wave clear and insane burst on very low cooldown, and that is something that's difficult to play around for any squishy.
Well, you don't want to be a squishy on the side of Gen.G right now. It's not just the LeBlanc, but the poke and the follow-up, you know, the finish from the side of Ezreal, what he can do, what Bang can do on a pick such as that. Now, we haven't really seen Tal do much on the Quinn, but maybe he can try to, you know, come in from behind with the speed, especially after level 16, and also get an assassination. But, again, haven't seen it just yet.
The problem for Gen.G is that the Gnar is a lot more of a situational engage champion, and you just want to engage on a grouped SKT, and these champions really are about the burst and about the catch, and if you catch them, then they're in a lot of trouble. So they are still very squishy on the side of SKT. Now, Cuvée can definitely find his situation, and Haru can catch one person, but he's so squishy himself that he'll often just be caught in that maneuver. So Gen.G have to be careful. Because they lost the first Baron, the execution edge is on them. If they don't actually out-execute SKT, they will lose the game. As, that's the movement speed onto Tal. It's so fast that, in fact, we can only see 3 of the numbers on our overlay. It's at 105 movement speed. The eye test definitely didn't agree.
Probably 1,105 movement speed, as number 4 was kind of slacking on the job, but yeah, I think it's a really interesting thing to talk about in terms of drafting as well. SKT 2 times in a row pick a kind of split pushing, I don't want a 5v5 Gen.G composition. Maybe that's the way you play against our number 2 team here in LCK.
I just want to apologize to Tal, but I'm not 100% sure if he took Celerity. If you take Celerity with the fact that you get movement speed from, of course, the Yomus, but also the Storm Razor proc, that could be insane AD for a very short duration. And guess what? Quinn is a burst champion who's known for short durations. Same thing with a Jhin, for example, with Hail of Blades and the 4th shot. So if it is Celerity, there'll be a lot of extra AD into the calculation in order to pick up the kills. And regardless, it's a lot of movement speed, as we can see.
Yeah, it definitely is. SKT, they say we are not going to 5v5 you. We have another composition that plays into this, and the Baron runs out. They're just waiting for the next one. It's going to come in about 1 minute 10. Both sides have picked up one Mountain Drake. Another one is going to be spawning in 40 seconds. This is going to be a very important time, probably the most important 5 minutes of the game for both of these teams to try to pick up these 2 objectives.
Tal has 720 movement speed just milling around when the ultimate is pressed. That's pretty cool. Going for all sorts of movement speed records here. I think the old Rammus days with the old home guard probably still wins, but still a very impressive feat given how much cap there is on movement speed as you get above 400.
Yeah. A lot of diminishing returns in that kind of algorithm, I guess, that equation. So, yeah, I mean, Quinn is one of those champions that you do have to respect that. Now, SKT looking towards this Mountain Drake. 2 Mountain Drakes makes the Baron for their side very fast. They don't have, you know, the auto-attacking AD carry, but still a nice amount of damage to them. Gen.G going to take that time to put down some warding on the Baron side, but not quite able to rush it down here just yet, as the timers were in favor of that Mountain Drake.
If Gen.G control an area with control wards, it's very difficult for SKT to pierce them because grouped as 5, you're not going to pick one person instantly like SKT have been doing earlier. Can't really make Gen.G opt into a situation like that, SKT I should say, outside of Baron with control or their own inhibitor turrets, and that would mean another Baron to the side of SKT. So trying to make this a game where their comp works after falling behind is very tricky, and Pyrion is here try to burst down QV.
Tal going for the wraparound, and now you see me, and now you don't, as coming in from behind, there's that burst damage on a QV. The stand united, but the ignite is there. And now that means that QV is going to go down, and CoreJJ also comes in, so it's not like they can rush a Baron or anything like that. Tal and Pyrian with their mobility pick up a kill.
And Tal able to spot with his W in that big AoE to know where CoreJJ was and know if the further pick mattered. So guess what happens? The rest go on to Baron. Tal keeps split pushing. Bang can start this objective if they want, trying to play this one smartly. There is still going to be the Hawk shot from Ashe, but both blue trinkets are on cooldown.
Well, that's a nice bit of damage to the inhibitor turret. We'll definitely take it out, just there's no answer really. Bang, he's getting into that assassination mode, looking to take someone down. Sleepy Trouble Bubble is going to land onto Tal, but they're not really concerned about that, as he does have his TP available. They want the Baron, and they should be able to take it for free.
Exhaust used, Tal will go down. Lewis Guardian Angel here. What's happening around the Baron? Baron right now, what's it at? It's only half health.
Yeah, it's not going down fast enough. The TP is coming in. Tal's going to lose the fight on the downside here. Gets ignited down, and now SKT have to disengage. They get the inhibitor turret, but they don't get the Baron, and they lose a member as well.
Tal was caught without his ultimate running, could never actually remount onto the Hawk, so never could disengage, and the exhaust meant that he goes down. So stake there from Tal, and the side push will get Gen.G straight through the mid lane. Again, the Gen.G Dream is fighting as a core of 4 or 5. It's not going to be an inhibitor, but it is the first true punish we're seeing on SKT.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to call it out, but it definitely does feel like SKT are winning in spite of the Quinn Tal pick so far right now. We'll see how that plays into the end of the game, as now Gen.G is looking to take down this Baron. They have a Mountain Drake of their own. Blank is there. It should come down to a 50-50.
Haru's so low.
Haru's super low, and it does go over to the side of Blank. He gets the smite, and that is huge. Haru with the big shield now, trying to get on top of Bang. But CoreJJ is too low, too, and Bang gets the double kill on the left side. The rest of Gen.G, though, did win the fight, and they do pick him up. But here's Tal. Oh, boy. Coming in a big way, but decides, hey, I'm not going to go 1v3. I'm really fast, and I look cool. But SKT, they take the Baron down, trade 2 for 2. Should be pretty happy about that. Oh, boy.
Tries to get the red buff with the AoE damage from the Ashe arrow. Not going to happen. Very amusing. Tal can get away. He's fine.
Yeah. Whew. Well, let's take a look at the replay.
So what happens here is that because Haru takes all the burst from the ult, he kites downwards for a moment. That's as the smite is needed. The smite is not there. SKT can do damage over the wall, so they get the objective. Bang falls super low, but CoreJJ and Haru are both fought away. A double kill does go the way of SKT. They don't get the Baron onto Quinn, who hadn't respawned as the Baron went down. So that's an actual frustration for SKT. If Quinn has the Baron, then the side lane push is going to be massive. Now it's going to be slightly less oppressive.
It was also funny because Bang messed up his arcane shift over the wall, and then he's like, wait, CoreJJ has no health. I guess I just killed them both anyway. And did end up getting the double kill. The rest of his team, he actually bought a lot of time because Fly had to come down and clean him up because he did win that one. The most damage went to QV's Gnar, as I'm sure he's feeling like he's having a good game, but needs the rest of his team to follow up as well.
And SKT need to play patient 4-1, get some control wards around where Blank and Bang are pathing and burst one person before they opt into the 5v5s, which really aren't comped in their direction.
The Baron buff here, it looks like it's on Blank and Pyrian. They're going to send Pyrian down on the bottom side to support him with Tal. So a bit of a 0-3-2 action, I suppose. Tal is just kind of wandering around looking for a use in this game. Looking for some meaning in his life as the Quinn.
So has a lot of burst, still helps with the W in order to check brush that he can't get access to. With the 4-1, they do send that 4, but you can see it's really only the cannon minion doing damage.
Yeah, Tal just flying around. He's having a fun game.
The inhibitor is exposed bot sides. There is a chance you can make a play here as SKT, but there's so much engage from Gen.G that they're deathly afraid of going for any sort of 3 mid lane, 2 bot lane configuration.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely feels like the game where even though SKT is 8,000 gold ahead, one botched engage, one mistake from the side of SKT, and you could be looking at 5 versus 3 where, in spite of the Baron buff, Gen.G could just push in from behind.
And Gen.G this whole season have gone for only marksmen, no awesome dudes, no mages, no bruisers. They're always, we do what it says on the tin. We fall back on how we won games in years past with a marksman doing good Baron damage, 5v5 fighting. That is how Gen.G go. SKT is iterating. They're going for this comp with the Quinn about catch, about the ability to really prosper out of how fast you can rotate with the Quinn. That, of course, is harder to close out with, and we've always seen Siege comps fall behind and just straight up lose. This Siege comp got ahead. The question was always by how much, and because it's not a true Siege, not long range, it is very delicate to play it out.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned how Quinn is essentially a burst champion, but does have that bit of marksman in her still. Not in terms of the items, but can auto-attack people down, especially after picking up the Black Cleaver, and she has the most gold in the game. We just saw, actually, she was cresting above 8,000 gold. It's because she's so fast, she's there in every lane, and she's pushing for so long.
Well, she's going to be here, and Cuvée is not.
Oh boy, Ruler gonna have to get away from this one. It looks like they do not have the engage to shut anyone down. No CC to lock them down, as Effort's ultimate not able to land, and the disengage is there. Ruler did have to blow his heal and flash, though. A couple of very important summoners.
And that is what Quinn can do. Go to the side wave, push it up. Cuvée gets there, and even if he's teleporting, he's going to be there late compared to 720 movement speed Quinn. Rolling through and getting summoners. It's only summoners, but Ruler is going to have to be very, very judicious on his positioning.
And you look at that, too. Just what you were talking about. The Quinn was there again. It kind of feels like she's in the top lane and the mid lane at both times. It's really hard to deal with, as even if Cuvée does push in a wave, really good wave clear on the side of the Quinn, and then immediately being in the mid lane means that, hey, we're always fighting with the Quinn, essentially. Always have some kind of backup, and even after landing the Trouble Bubble, not confident to go in and push because they knew that Tal was going to be there before Cuvée. It's been looking really good in this late game, especially the Quinn.
Question is, can Tal keep Cuvée in the side wave? Because you're much happier missing out on your Quinn in a 4v4 than you are missing out on your Gnar in a 4v4. We've already seen it's a no sustain burst build, so can't take extended trades, is fast, and here comes the Quinn.
Now, they forced the TP out here from Cuvée, so it is going to be a 5v5, but SKT, they could back off and then return to the lanes, and then no TP on the side of Gnar.
But are they going to back off? Right now, they're not, Valdez.
Yeah, they have this Elder Drake really low. Confident in the smites, and they're really good at zoning with the Quinn. They are going to leash the Elder Drake, and once again, Quinn goes top lane. This is what I just said. They get the teleport essentially for free.
Exactly. They take a teleport. They don't over-index on a smite war. The minion's actually going to have to be cleaned at some point, and that means the Gnar walks over. There's going to be a push in top. It is frustrating. It is slow to finally win the game as SKT. Getting a lead, that part was easy enough. Winning the game, we can see. Very frustrating as Bang will get poked.
Yeah, they're backing on a ward. A bit of a mistake. They're not going to clean that one up, and I think it should have been pretty obvious the way that Gen.G was walking into the river, kind of swaying back and forth. And now, with backs coming in, Gen.G looking for this Elder. They don't need the TP on Cuvée because he was in the bottom lane. SKT gonna have to answer this.
It might be too late.
Everybody trying to come in, but they get the stun onto Blank, and the smite will go to the side of Gen.G. Now looking to fight here with the Elder buff. Blank taking a lot of damage, and SKT just looking for the disengage. Baron coming up in 18 seconds. This game once again on a knife's edge.
It does feel, though, if Gen.G can inch objectives like this, they should win in 5v5. Only Pyrian and Tal have the abilities in their kit to rewrite this game. With burst damage, the GA can check this brush. If Ruler walks up, he will die.
Oh man, just getting those linebackers in the front, Cuvée and Haru, the GA linebacker. Just trying to cover, but look at Pyrian. Looking to come in the backside, but the Mega Gnar is here for Cuvée. Once that engaged, they want to pick someone. Big moves forward, is going to be super tanky. Trying to get the poke damage onto Effort. He gets super low. He's going to have to cleanse this one. And now SKT, they just want to disengage. Not going to be able to win this fight. But Pyrian in the backside, trying to get on the ruler, but he's not able to do enough
done.
damage. And there it is, the W comes in. And Zoe will take him out, and oh boy, down will go Bang too. As that is going to come in, he has to cleanse and splash to get out of that one. Haru gets super low, is going to have his GA burst down. Tal as well is going to go down to his GA, but it looks like Gen.G is going to clean up the rest of the side of SKT. Only 2 members going to get away, and Gen.G now with the Elder are going to be able to pick up the Baron.
Slow and steady, win the race. The turtle and the hare. The turtle here has definitely been able to turtle. The picks were so important. SKT got so many advantages, but winning the game has eluded them for about 20 minutes. And Gen.G say, screw the Baron, we just want to win the game.
They might be able to here. Just 20 seconds left on Parian, though. We'll see if SKT can try to hold this one off. It's a really strong push with the Elder Drake still available, and they are pushing so fast. Bang gonna take an immense amount of damage in the front line. One turret goes down, the other one disintegrates, and there it is. The Nexus will go down. We are gonna go to a game number 3.
SK Telecom tried to reinvent the wheel. They bring out the Quinn, first time in a couple of years, and it works till it doesn't, Valdez. In the mid game to the late game, unable to get any value. They can't break the base and return to it. That inhibitor turret in bot lane was taken so early in the game, and they never got the inhibitor. And if you're Gen.G, this team that only plays the marksman, that only plays one style, you're confident that if you can ever get an honest-to-God 5v5 fight, you're going to be able to win it. They get a couple, they win them, they win the game, and suddenly it's a best-of-1 with SKT still fighting for their playoff hopes, and Gen.G desperate to move to 11 match wins and match Griffin.
You can see that Fly is having a lot of pressure on him. Didn't have the best mid-game after winning the early game with the solo kill. Is able to carry it back. The Zoe was doing so much work in the late game. You can see the frustration on the side of SKT. They were this close to 2-0ing Gen.G, our number 2 team, and moving up in the ladder, trying to make playoffs. Blank, it looks like he's having a little bit of a mental boom right now. We'll see if he can come back.
I mean, this is a really stressful game. They were ahead. They couldn't close it. Will we see any subs? Will we see FLICKR when we return?
That's the real question. We'll be back after a quick commercial break.
안녕하세요. 에로의 신문 10답의 박지선입니다. 오늘은 많은 국내 팬분들이 기다렸을 SK텔레콤의 뱅과 페이커 선수 모셔봤습니다. 안녕하세요.
최대한 저의 본 모습을 보여드리겠습니다.
저는 나루토처럼 때리겠습니다.
So, can you introduce yourself and your team?
Hi, I'm Bang,
What's your name?
준식배,
And your team?
SK telecom team.
Can you tell us about your team?
We are good team.
So, as an AD carry player, what are your thoughts about the current meta?
Good,
Good? Why?
funny,
Funny? How funny?
very funny.
In what way?
힌트.
응?
힌트.
못 들었어.
Why do you think the current meta is funny?
I played new champion before I didn't.
And you guys have been living together for a long time, right? So is there any funny episodes that you want to share with us?
3 years ago, when we sleep together. Not on bed. The same room. When Sang-Yeop had very bad dream, nightmare, and he called me.
What did
Hey,
he say?
Hyunjik, if there, are you there?
What was the dream about?
He's got something nightmare.
Then who is the life of party in SKT?
힌트.
몰라.
Make very funny comments all the time.
Untara and Warp.
What's so funny about him?
Just saying some Jumanji?
Welcome to Jumanji.
Just say Jumanji when they got every happening before you're eating. Jumanji, you know what I'm saying? Just saying like something that.
And any last message for your fans?
Hi, I'm Bang. I will try everything for our team getting win. Thank you.
이제 자리를.
저도요?
Hello. Can you introduce yourself and your team?
Hi, I'm FLICKR with SKT.
So, what is the thing that makes you happy nowadays?
I'm just playing League of Legends nowadays, and I don't have any others.
And why do you like daddy jokes so much?
힌트.
못 들어.
Why do you like daddy jokes
아,
so much?
아재 개그.
Oh, I don't like that now. That's not funny. Yeah.
What made you change your thoughts? You used to like it.
I usually using that jokes to my teammates. They don't react anything, but so I don't like to say that. Yeah.
Then any message for your fans?
We lost 4 games recently, but so we are going to playoffs. Okay. Our goal is our goal is go to finals. Our goal is to go finals. So shut up. So okay.
So last time, Prey said he loves you from other teams.
I love fake. You're still my number one.
거기에 대해서 한 말씀 대답을 해주셔야 되잖아요.
감사합니다.
아이 그래.
Then would you like to send him a message on camera?
Thank you.
여기까지가 SK텔레콤의 페이커 뱅 선수였습니다. 안녕.
좀 긴장감이 남아 있었는데 이런 걸 하니까 좀 확 풀리네요. 뭔가 좀 옆에서 영어를 하는 거 들으니까 무섭네요. 네. 네, 지금까지 SK텔레콤의 페이커 뱅이었습니다. 네, 감사합니다. 감사합니다.
안녕이었는데 감사합니다.
그러네, 안녕이었는데. 그냥 해. 끝.